Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the CRE Legal Minute-ish. I'm Joe Heins with Phillips Lytle. We're on our second retail real estate topic, percentage rent. So what is percentage rent? It's a unique animal to retail real estate, and it's a third type of rent on top of your base rent and your additional rents, your CAM, your taxes, and your insurance. Percentage rent is when a tenant is obligated to pay a certain percentage of the gross sales from the leased premises to the landlord as an additional rent. Now, this obligation usually only kicks in once the tenant's sales from the store exceed a certain threshold, which is called a break point. Once sales exceed the break point, then the landlord is entitled to a certain percentage of those sales. This is basically a risk-sharing exercise between the landlord and the tenant. The landlord is taking on a little bit more risk than it typically would by having less base rent guaranteed up front, but there is the chance of a higher upside if the store is very successful and there's a lot of sales down the line. A couple of hot button issues to keep in mind. One is making sure that the break point is clearly defined, and if it's a natural break point and it's tied to the base rent increases, or if it's a fixed amount that isn't tied to the base rent. That has to be clearly defined. Another thing that has to be clearly defined is the definition of gross sales. Seems fairly straightforward, but it's something that's heavily negotiated because there's a lot of gray area as to what items are actually sold from a demised premises. And it gets even more confusing as technology gets more and more sophisticated and online shopping gets more and more connected with a bricks and mortar store. Something like buying online and picking up in store. That has to be worked out ahead of time, or else it's just going to lead to confusion down the line as to what's included. And it is important because ultimately it hits the bottom line of the landlord if it is included and the tenant if it's not. So there's plenty of other issues besides those, and the attorneys at Phillips Lytle are standing by to help. Please feel free to reach out and join us next time when we talk about gross sales kickouts, another special animal in retail real estate. We'll see you then.